Okay, so what is the inverse operation for addition? Yep. Subtraction. What about subtraction?
Addition.
Multiplication?
Division.
And then division. All right, and then we have some words, and we're trying to figure out what inequality matches. So an inequality, remember, is the greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, like less than or equal to, okay? So if we're talking about at least, so for example, if I say I have at least $20, what am I saying? Greater than or equal to, yep. So I have $20 or more. And if I say I have at most $20, what's that mean? Less than or equal to, yep. So the most I could possibly have is 20, so that's the equal to, but or less than that. All right, and then pay close attention on these ones because I'm noticing some stuff that needs to be kind of figured out with distributing and combining like terms before we move forward, okay? So first thing, when you're distributing, you're only distributing to what's in the parentheses, okay, not whatever comes after it. So first you're going to do negative 2 times x, which is what?
Negative 2x.
Yep, negative 2x. And then don't immediately put a sign here. Wait until you see the sign of your answer, okay? So then what's negative 2 times negative 4?
8.
Positive 8, right? So that's why it's going to become a plus 8. And then bring down your plus 5x. Okay, and then remember this concept of like terms. So like terms have the same variable and the same exponent on them. So you can't just add all these together to get a number because some of them have x's and some of them don't, okay? So we're going to only combine the ones that have the x's together. So what's negative 2x and positive 5x? 3x, and then you're just going to bring down the plus 8. And that is how your answer has to stay, okay? All right, and then on this next one, what's 3 times 8?
24.
Yeah, 24. And then 3 times negative 1y. Yep, negative 3y. So instead of doing plus negative, if it's a negative answer, it's just minus. Okay, bless you. Just subtraction. And then bring down your minus 9. And then right now, you're not going to lose points. You're not going to get marked off if you don't put the variable piece first. But second semester, when we learn the correct order to put answers in, then you will start to get marked off. So I would just get in the habit of it now, okay? So whatever has the variable, usually we want to write first. So I'm just going to bring down the negative 3y. Because the 24 and the negative 9 are like terms, what do those make?
Like 15.
15, so plus 15. Bless you. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so we just did one-step equations and inequalities where you just had to do one little thing, and now we're jumping all the way to multi-step. So things where you're going to have to do multiple steps to get the answer. So your objective is students will be able to solve equations and inequalities that require more than one step. So we're going to have like distributive property, we're going to have combining like terms, we're going to have both addition and subtraction with multiplication and division. The only thing that we're not going to cover today is when you have variables on both sides. Okay, so our variables still going to be contained to one side or the other today, and then we'll add variables on both sides in Wednesday. Okay. So the general order that you're going to do this in, so if you have distributive property, so like you have anything that looks like this, you're going to do that first, and then you're going to combine like terms. So you should only have a maximum of 2 things on each side of your equal sign. You could have something with a variable and something without. If you have more than that, then that means that you have stuff that you can combine together to kind of condense it before you start, okay? After that's taken care of, then you're basically doing reverse order of operations because whoever is doing this problem is doing the order of operations, so we have to go backwards to undo it. So we're going to undo addition, subtraction. Then the last thing is undo multiplication, division. Okay? So let's look at, we're just going to look at 2 step ones first, where we have like where we have to make it 0 out, and we also have to make it a 1 in front of the variable at the same time. So on this one, so we're trying to get the a by itself. So we need to first make this plus 0 or minus 0. So what am I going to combine with negative 7 to make it 0? Positive 7, right? That leaves us with the negative 6a. It's less than, what's that, 24? 24. Yes.
Can I turn off the light because it's hard to see?
There's not one or the other. It's like it just completely goes black, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry. I'll try to mess with the settings in a minute to see if that helps, because I think I messed with them when we did something else. Okay, then from there, I need to make this a 1a, and right now it's a negative 6a. So what do I divide negative 6 by to make 1?
The negative 6.
By negative 6, yep. So that's going to make 1a now. And then does anyone remember that special rule that we learned? Yep, flip the sign because you divided by a negative. So if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. Is that better? Yeah? No one? Is that better? Can you see better? Okay. All right. Now on this one, so if your variable is on the right side instead of the left, it's really up to you when you want to flip the whole thing over to make it on the left. Bless you. I would probably just wait till the end, till the final answer, but if you want to rewrite the problem, you can do that too, okay? So here, we're working off this side. So what do I need to add onto this side to make positive 5 go to 0? Negative 5, yep. That's going to be negative 9. And you still have negative 3n. So remember that subtraction signs kind of double as negatives now. So we're always looking at the sign that's in front, and that's going to dictate if it's positive or negative. Okay? Okay, so now I need to make this a 1. So what do I have to divide negative 3 by? Negative 3. And since I'm dividing by negative, what do I have to do?
Flip.
Flip. So that's going to be positive 3. And then we typically like to write inequalities with the variable on the left, right? For graphing and stuff. So I'm going to rewrite this. And remember that when you're doing that, you just want to pay attention to where the point is on the inequality. So if I look at the point, is it pointing towards the 3 or the n? The n, right? So the point right here is pointing towards the n. So you just want to make sure that that stays true so that you don't like mess anything up. You're just rewriting it. Okay? All right, go ahead and try the got it. Let's go this, guys. Mm-hmm. So guys, the line, I forgot to even explain that you're seeing me write. The placement of that is always wherever your symbol is, like your equal sign or your inequality. That's where you're always drawing the line down. You kind of separate the two sides, okay? So on this side, we need to get rid of that positive 9 first. So what do I combine with positive 9 to make 0? I don't know. So now we have 4t is greater than 12. Okay, so now I have to make that a 1t. So what am I dividing by? 4. So t is greater than 3. Why did I not flip the sign this time?
Because there was no negative.
Because there wasn't a negative with what I was dividing or multiplying by. Okay? Good. All right, let's try more. All right, so now we're going to look at ones where you have some like terms to combine at the beginning, okay? So go to wherever your sign is, this time it's equal sign. So remember that you should have, at the very most, 2 things on each side. Something with a letter, something without a letter, okay? If you have more than that, then before you even get to start the problem, you should be like condensing things down on each side, okay? So you guys see how on this side I have more than 1 letter? So when you combine those, you're not trying to do the opposite or make it 0 out. You're just putting them together. This is like before you even start the problem, okay? So, so I have a 5m and a 2m. What does that make?
7.
7m, yep. And then bring down the minus 23. So that's just getting your problem ready to go, okay? Once you have like a maximum of 2 things on each side and you actually start solving, that's when you do the opposite. So we're trying to get to m by itself. So I need negative 23 to 0 out. So what do I put on this side also?
Plus 23.
Yep, plus 23. So I have 7m still. 5 and 23 is 28. Okay, so now I need this to be a 1m. So what do I divide by? 7. So m equals 28 divided by 7, which is 4.
Do we have to put 4 equals m, or can we put m equals 4?
M equals 4 I would prefer. It doesn't make me like,
Yeah.
like have feelings. Yeah. All right, any questions on that? Okay, so go ahead and do these 2. If you want to do A and then pause, we'll go over A first, and then I'll give you more time to do B in case you want to make sure you're not doing anything wrong when you do both of them. Okay. So I'm going to do A, give you a minute or 2, and then I'll go over it. Okay, are we done with A, at least? No? Okay. So for A, let's go over first. So on the left side, we have some stuff that can be combined. So we have an 11m and a negative 6m. What's that make? 5m, yeah? And then you guys still have your minus 8. Okay. So now, how do I get rid of a minus 8?
Plus 8.
Plus 8. So you have 5m equals 30. And then, what do I divide this by?
5.
You get m equals 6. Okay, ask questions if you have them, otherwise I'm going to give you another minute or two if you didn't finish B or you want to go edit B. Yes. That would be fine, except for not minus 5m, plus 5m because it's a positive. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, we good to go over this one? Yeah? Okay. Alright, so this one, on the left side you have like terms. I have a negative 2y and a positive 5y. What does that make? Yep, 3y. Because there's a negative 2 and a positive 5, right? And bring your plus 5 down. Alright, then how do I get rid of the positive 5?
Negative 5.
So that's 9. And then how do I make 3 into 1?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. So you get y equals 3. And then keep in mind too, if you're not sure, take what you got, especially for the equal sign ones. It doesn't really work for the inequalities, and plug it in for the y's at the beginning and make sure it works. So, okay, we good so far? Okay, so now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we are going to do ones that have distributive property in them. Okay? And then we're going to put the two together. All right, so on problem 3, we're going to distribute that negative 8. So what is negative 8 times 2x? Yep, negative 16x. And guys, I would let the calculator do all of this work for you. Okay? There's no reason why you should have to multiply things together and make little mistakes. Let the calculator do it. All right, do not immediately put a plus there. I'm noticing people are putting like signs there and then using double signs, and it's just getting kind of wonky, and that's going to mess you up later. So wait until you multiply, see if it's positive or negative, and then you know the sign. Okay? So what is negative 8 times negative 1?
8.
8, positive 8, right? We all agree positive 8? So that's how you know it's going to be plus 8 right here. If it was negative 8, you would just do minus 8, not plus negative. And then we're pretty much at the same spot as all the rest. Okay? So how do I get rid of a positive 8?
Minus 8.
So negative 16x equals 24, 28, and
I don't even
28. Yeah.
if it's so confusing.
Okay. So now how am I going to make that a 1x?
Divide by 6.
Yep. And then am I dividing by positive or negative to make a positive?
Negative.
Negative. Okay, so that's kind of gross. That's okay though. What are those both divisible by? 4? So that'd be negative 7/4. So we're all about in this class exact answers, guys. So whenever you're about to ask me, is it okay if I do 1.75? I'm going to say, yeah, 1.75 is fine. But if this was the kind of fraction that when you divide it, you get like a repeating decimal or something, then it wouldn't be fine because I don't want you rounding at all, okay? So then I would keep it as a fraction. So your best bet is just to keep it as a reduced fraction, but if you want to do decimals, they just better be exact. No rounding, no nothing, okay? Make sense? Yeah? Okay. All right, go ahead and try that. Got it? Yes. You got to bring your pen. Okay, are we ready to go over this one? Okay. All right, so let's distribute. So what's 3 times 2x?
6x.
6x. 3 times negative 6?
Negative 18.
Negative 18. So we're just going to do minus 18. We're not going to do plus negative 18 because it gets really messy after a while. Okay. Okay, so now, how do I get rid of a minus 18?
Plus 18.
Yep, plus 18. That was me 36. Okay, and how do I get that to be a 1x?
Divide by 6.
6. So you get x equals 6. Good? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the two things that we just did together, okay? So we are going to combine distributive property with combining like terms. Okay. So find your sign. So first thing you're going to do is the distributive property, okay? So we're going to distribute that 3, and you're only distributing it to the parentheses. So what's 3 times t?
3t.
3t. 3 times 1? 3, so plus 3. And then bring down your minus 4t. Greater than or equal to negative 5. Okay, so it's just distributing. But we're still not ready to do the problem yet because we have too many things on one of the sides. We can combine some stuff together. Okay? So on this side, let's combine 3t with negative 4t. So what's 3 and negative 4?
Negative 1.
Negative 1, yep, negative 1t. And then you still have your plus 3. So all of that is before the problem starts. That's just like the pre-stuff that you do to get it all simplified and ready to go. Okay? If two things are already on the same side as one another of that line, you don't do opposites. You don't try to like make it 0 or anything. You just combine it like it is. Okay? All right, so now how do I get rid of the positive 3?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. Okay. And then if you're not in the habit of writing the ones, if you were just to do negative t, I still want you guys to realize that that's still not done, okay? So what do I have to divide negative by to make it a positive?
Negative.
Yeah, negative. And since I'm dividing by negative, what do I have to do?
Flip.
Flip this side, yeah. So t is less than or equal to 8. Make sense? Any questions on that? So we're just combining the first two things, the last two examples we did, into the beginning part of one problem, okay? So on this one, you're going to start off by distributing. When you distribute, you're treating that like a negative 2, okay? So go ahead and try the got it.
Okay, so I'm kind of confused on this one because should we subtract 5 and the 2 first?
No, so you're treating that like a negative 2 when you multiply.
Okay.
You have to bring down just the 5 and then we'll start multiplying negative 2. Yeah. To do, so the 5 you'd bring down first before you do anything else. You mean the 5 that's at the beginning on the right side? Yeah, so then you would say, did you get negative 14? Yeah, so then you'd combine positive 5 with negative 14, yeah. Yeah, because they're on the same side. Okay, ready? All right, so for this one, okay, so you're distributing the negative 2. So what's negative 2 times 4m?
Negative 8.
Yep, negative 8m.
2 times 4 is negative 8.
Thanks. And then what is negative 2 times 7?
-14.
Negative 14. Yep. All right, so next thing that you would have to do is combine your like terms. So I'm just going to bring down the negative 8m because it's already just by itself. So you have a positive 5 combining with a negative 14. What's that make?
-9.
Negative 9, yeah. All right, so then how do I get rid of minus 9?
+9.
So you have 24. Okay, and then how do I get rid of the negative 8?
Divide -8.
And since I'm divided by negative, what do I do?
Switch.
Yeah, flip the sign. There we go. Okay. Now, that's your answer technically, but we're going to rewrite this to be better, okay? So we want the m to come first. So look and see where it's pointing. Is the little point pointing at the negative 3 or the m? The m, right? It's pointing at them, so just make sure it stays pointing at the m when you rewrite that.
But you switched it again.
Yeah, because I flipped the whole thing over. So these two things are the exact same thing. I didn't flip the sign again. It's just because I flipped the whole thing that I had to flip the sign.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay. So.
Okay, but like I wrote it as m is greater than or equal to -3 though because I switched it.
But then you wouldn't have switched it because here, see how in the original the m was bigger? Yeah, so does that make sense? I know, it's like confusing because like there's so many flips. All right, so on the last example, we're just kind of highlighting the difference with some division stuff that can be happening, okay? So do we see the difference between these two problems in the sense that the whole side has division versus just a piece of it? Yes? Okay. So on a problem like this, where your entire side has a divide, you could handle it a couple different ways. You could do what we learned how to do in Unit 1, the Unit 1 test. I'm going to do a little side note. You don't have to necessarily write this down, but just you can see, that's why we kind of learned this. You could do this, like split up the division and do 5 over 2x minus 4 over 2 equals 3, and simplify that. 5 over 2x minus 2 equals 3, and then it's going to look like that to solve, okay? However, what ends up happening when you do it that way is sometimes this doesn't make a whole number, like it doesn't divide evenly, and then you're kind of stuck adding or subtracting a fraction over, which means getting a common denominator and all that stuff. So that can be kind of a pain in the butt. So I don't really do it like that. You can if you want to, if you see that, but what I do is since this whole thing is being divided by 2, I'm going to multiply the whole top by 2, like that. And then what's 2 divided by 2? 1. So it's like it never happened. So you get 5x minus 4 equals 3 times 2, which is 6. All right, so now how do I get rid of the minus 4?
Plus
5x equals 10. And then what do I do to finish it?
divide
Yep.
5.
Divided by 5. So x equals 2. Make sense? Questions on that? So that's if the whole side is being divided, okay? That's going to be different than a situation like this where you just have division as a little piece of the problem. So on one like this, you're going to have to do it in the normal order. Yeah.
So what do you multiply 2 times 5x?
So you could, but then you're kind of stuck in the same spot that you were where you still have that division. So instead of actually multiplying the 2 through, I just used the multiply by 2 to cancel with the divide by 2. Does that make sense? All right. So here, we're still going to have to get rid of that positive 1. So how do I get rid of that?
-1.
Yep, negative 1. So you have 2 thirds x equals 10. All right, if from this point you've been taught to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, you can still do that. Okay, that's totally fine. My brain just tends to like whine whenever I think about doing that. So I do it in separate pieces because it's just easier for me. So I tend to get rid of like the division first. So since that's a divide by 3, I multiply by 3 on both sides, and that cancels to 1. So you just have the 2x left. 10 times 3 is 30. And then I do the division after that. So then I divide by 2 to make 1. So you get x equals 15. Okay? But if you want to do it all in one piece by doing the reciprocal, you're doing the same thing. You're just doing it 2 pieces in one step instead of separating it out. Okay? Either way is totally fine. Good? Okay, go ahead and do that. Let's got it. Okay, guys, just for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and go over this. Okay? So what I would do first on A is I would get rid of the divide by 4 by doing a whole multiply by 4 to cancel with it. So that'll cancel. So you'll have to 3x plus 1 equals 28. Then you'll do minus 1. 3x equals 27. And then divide by 3. So you get x equals 9. And on B, you would have to get rid of the minus 3 first by doing plus 3. So you have 3/5 x equals 9. And then if you want to do times 5 over 3, like do the whole reciprocal, you can. Or I'm just going to do times 5 first to cancel. So you have 3x equals 45. And then I'll divide by the 3. So you get x equals 15. Okay? All right. On the got it problems, there's not a whole lot of space to write, so I'm going to try to write as neatly as I can. Okay? So get the problems written down, pick one of them to solve, and then I'm going to put the answers up, and you can always use the rest for practice later. But that's all we pretty much have time for. 7p plus 8p minus 12 equals 59. Oh, sorry, it's ugly. Then negative 2. 3x plus 9 equals 24. 7 plus 6a is greater than 19. And then 2t plus 2 minus 3t is greater than negative 1. So if you need some clarification on those, just let me know. Come on, guys, you still have 5 minutes. Wait till the answers go up in like a minute, so you can at least write those down. But you're supposed to be picking one to solve right now. Okay, so there's those when I'm done. If you are not getting those, you can't figure out why, bring it up tomorrow in class and we can go over it, okay?